Captioning sponsored by Superior Toyota Hyundai and WVU Medicine Camden Clark.
Wood County officials canvassed the election results today, and they say no major changes were made. West Virginia University's athletic director is out. WVU President Gordon Gee made the final call to part ways with Shane Lyons. Meteorologist Kirk Greenfield has your forecast, and Evan Lasik joins us in sports. WTAP News at 11 starts now.
Live from our studios at One Television Plaza, this is WTAP News at 11.
There is a big change in WVU's football program. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Phyllis Smith. WVU Athletic Director Shane Lyons is out after more than 7 years. His departure leaves a couple of unanswered questions. Who will replace him, and what does this mean for football coach Neil Brown? Interim AD Rob Alsop says WVU President Gordon Gee made the final call to part ways with Lyons. The university is working with an outside firm to find a replacement. He says that process is expected to take a month or less. The move to get rid of Lyons came as WVU's football team is in the middle of one of the worst stretches in program history.
We are all not satisfied with the wins and losses, but President Gee and our new athletic director, will take an appropriate long-term look at the direction of all of the Department of Athletics and make a thoughtful decision moving forward.
Brown got a contract extension under Lyons that would leave WVU on the hook for around $16 million if he were to be fired this year. Turning to the weather now, a chilly night. Meteorologist Kirk Greenfield joins us now with the first look at your forecast. Kirk.
We're heading towards freezing tonight. We're close, according to the Highmark West Virginia Skycam, at 34. It feels like 29 already. The relative humidity 67%, and the winds out of the east-northeast at 6. As a result, there is wind chill. The barometer 30.29 inches is fairly steady and fairly high. When we look at the evening planner, we expect to be at 30 degrees by midnight, drop down to 29 by 4 a.m., and then start to climb back up towards freezing as we start tomorrow with some cloud cover. Hopefully that will insulate us, keep us from going too low in some of the rural areas, but wait until you see when the precipitation is expected. I'll be talking about that when I return. Back to you.
Thank you, Kirk. 2 of the 3 men convicted in the murder of a well-known high school athlete were sentenced Monday to life without the possibility of parole, according to the prosecutor's office in Meigs County. The sentences were handed down to both Jaquan Hall and Keontae Nelson. Both of them were convicted of aggravated murder. A third man, Richard Walker, who pleaded guilty to burglary and conspiracy in connection with the case, was sentenced to 11 to 15 and a half years behind bars. All 3 men were convicted in the Easter 2021 shooting death of Kane Roush. Roush was found dead with multiple gunshot wounds near an apartment complex in Pomeroy. He was a well-known star athlete and state champion for Wahama High School's football team in 2012. A man from Mason County is sentenced to 10 years in prison for child porn. Joseph Hubman was sentenced Monday to 10 years in prison, to be followed by 15 years of supervised release for possession of child porn. He is 50 years old and from Henderson. He must also register as a sex offender. Officers say he had more than 18,000 videos of child porn, and he admitted that it was his. The Wood County Commission and the county clerk's office did election canvassing today. Officials were overlooking the validity and potential changes to provisional ballots. These ballots can include absentee ballots or votes that poll workers are challenging. Wood County Clerk Mark Rhodes says that there were a total of 119 total votes the canvassing board looked over, and 91 votes were added in from the 3 precincts the board looked over. Rhodes says that processes like this are important in providing fair elections and results.
Hand count part, it all plays in well, because if you're comfortable with somebody that has a 3,000 spread vote, you're going to be comfortable with somebody that has a 3 spread vote. So it instills the faith in the voter. That is our main goal here, is to make sure that every legally cast ballot does count. So it's most everything that we do at this point in time is just another checks and balance.
Rhodes says that after the canvassing, there is no change in election results and there are no contested races. 4 fire departments responded to a Parkersburg house fire on School Street this afternoon. Eastwood, Waverly, Mineral Wells, and Blennerhassett volunteer fire departments lined the road leading to the house. Eastwood Chief Ron Utt says they got the call around noon. 3 people were in the house when the fire started, but they got out safely.
When you got here, what did the scene look like?
About a third of the structure was fully involved. Flames coming through the roof on the far side.
Chief Utt says the Red Cross has been contacted to help the residents of the home. Wood County Sheriff's Department and St. Joe's Ambulance Services also responded. Members of the Wood County community are coming together to discuss the issue of housing in the area. Mitchell Blayhut has the story.
Wood County Economic Development Office commissioned a housing study by Bowen National Research. The survey talked with over 1,200 residents, commuters, stakeholders, and 35 employers. The findings show the lack of affordable housing is hurting Wood County. Results show that Wood County has lost households from 2000 to 2021. The group that conducted the survey says the county could continue to see a decline for the next 5 years if there is no change to provide affordable housing. One positive the group says is the survey shows roughly 41% of non-residents would move to Wood County if affordable and adequate housing were available.
I think that speaks to opportunity. A lot of communities don't have folks that are at that level of interest to move to an area. And so clearly the lack of housing is probably keeping folks from moving here. And 41%, that's the second highest I've ever seen in any of the markets that we've studied in the last 2 years, which is about 24 cities or communities. So significant opportunity for Parkersburg and Wood County.
Although the demand is there, the supply is not.
And right now, what we've learned today is we are pretty much at capacity with both rentals and housing market.
Community members are hoping that this housing study can provide an idea of what to do for both present and future employers, such as the new FedEx distribution center in Parkersburg and the titanium plant coming to Jackson County.
All of those entities have needs for their employees to have great housing and available and affordable housing in our community.
Bowen says to address a lot of the needs, those in charge need to look into housing alternatives, not only for the high demand in low-income families and younger people leaving the state, but also for the increasing senior population.
Well, I think it's critical to have sufficient housing for all types of seniors, whether it's those that are independent living and they just need to transition from their house into some multifamily housing project, but also all the way up to nursing care facilities, those that need significant health care related services.
Bowen believes that this effort will need to be a collaboration to address this issue.
If you brought community leaders, housing advocates, area employers together, and start to work on a plan to address housing, I think you could move the needle and make a difference.
In Parkersburg, this is Mitchell Blayhut, WTAP News.
The tree lighting that kicks off the United Way's Festival of Trees is one of the first glimpses of the holiday spirit in the Mid-Ohio Valley. Step into the Blennerhassett Hotel and you will be greeted by Christmas tree galore. There's a black bear themed tree, a candy themed tree, a coffee themed one, and everything in between, now all lit up. The trees were decorated by community members and will later be auctioned off.
It's a great way to start moving into the holiday spirit, and for us it's amazing to see so many people getting involved and coming out and just putting enthusiasm behind the festival, so we love it.
The Festival of Trees is more than just pretty Christmas trees. You can also look forward to the Character Breakfast, a tree decorating contest, and Santa Con. This is the time of year to watch out for deer on the road. Post Commander Lieutenant Chris Chizar says throughout November alone, they average 1 report a day involving deer crashes. Most deer-involved crashes that get reported happen early in the morning or at night when your surroundings are not as visible. Lieutenant Chizar says to think of other people on the road when you see a deer.
Is right. It's about you and the other traffic that's oncoming. You're better off, like I said, to unfortunately hit the deer. It's a no-win situation, but it's the safest way to be.
Chizar suggests making sure to keep water and blankets in your car if you are stranded after hitting a deer. Still ahead, the man accused of shooting and killing 3 University of Virginia students is caught by police. He himself is an ex-UVA football player. That story is next at 11.
It was a sunny but cool day in the Mid-Ohio Valley to kick off our work week, and it's probably been the warmest day of the week. That's next.
Tonight's news poll is sponsored by Baker & Baker Jewelers and by the Basement Doctor of West Virginia.